Hello, everybody. I'm so glad that you joined me again today for our Bible study. And my name is Don Matthews, and I'm going to be instructing and teaching on God's timeline to the end of days. And today we're going to be going through part 5 of the study to the end of days. Did you know that God has a timeline? Did you know that God has a purpose for each one of us? And God is looking to build a family. God is looking to invite everybody to join his family. But he says only a few people make that choice to do so. I have the choice to make to accept Jesus as my Lord, and so do you. And so what we learned in the last several sessions was that from the beginning of time in Genesis chapter 1, God created all things. And then we went 2,000 years up unto the point where Abraham comes on the scene and God cuts a blood covenant with a mortal man named Abraham. Since Abraham, if you follow the genealogies of the Bible, you'll find that it's another 2,000 years to the time of Jesus. Jesus is the Messiah. Jesus was spoken of back in Genesis when God created Adam and Eve and they fell into sin. And immediately God moved on a plan of salvation. And he said, through the woman, I'm going to bring one along who's going to crush the head of the serpent. And who he was speaking of was Satan. Satan was initially known to be Lucifer. And he came right here at the beginning. And we're not exactly sure, and neither does it necessarily matter, that Satan came on the scene. He was a fallen angel. He was the highest archangel in heaven. They say he was in charge of the choir, of the praise and worship. And he got kicked out of heaven. And it's been said that he fell headlong into the choir loft. And there's been trouble in the church and with music ever since. And if you've been in a church, you can kind of understand that could well be what happened. But he fell to earth, and he brought all of his trash with him. And he started creating havoc. He got Adam and Eve to fall into sin and to disobey God. Now, had God left us in that state, we would all be lost forever. But because of God's great love and his great compassion, he made a way that took 4,000 years to bring Jesus on the scene, to save our souls and to give us a hope and a future, because we could put our faith in that one who would come to save us. And so the Bible calls Adam, of course, he is the first Adam, and Jesus is known to be the last Adam, which means we're not looking for another one. What the first Adam lost through sin, Jesus gained back through his righteousness. And so we've gone 4,000 years, and since the time of Jesus, we have now come another 2,000 years. Sorry, got the wrong color pen. I don't use it for this one. We'll use the black one. Another 2,000 years. Right up until, give or take, right where we are today. You are here. You ever go to a mall and you're trying to find your way around and there's stores everywhere and you find a map someplace and you find out, gain some concept or perspective of the whole building and where you are. And you find yourself on the map somewhere and it'll say, you are here. Well, that's where you are right now, today. 2,000 years after Jesus. We are 2020. Jesus came. He came as the Messiah, the Son of God. He came to give his life for us, which is exactly what he did. And then he says, I'm going to come back again. He laid down his life. The third day, he came back to life. And he says, I'll be back to receive you to myself. He says, I'm going to go to my Father's house, and I'm going to prepare a place for you, that where I am, there you may be also. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there you may be also. You know, the Word of God is total truth. It's absolutely flawless. The Word calls it incorruptible seed. Every word of the Bible is infallible. So you can put weight on it. You can believe it. You know, I was going to tell you that this Word of God, this Bible, is like a owner's manual. Who makes a product and doesn't make an owner's manual? Who has a creation and hasn't got a manual for how to run it? Well, God did the same thing. He was the first one to do it. He gave us the manual for life. He tells you in this book how you were made. He tells you how you got here. He tells you where you're going. And so it's up to us to read the book and read the manual. And I trust that, we might not read the manual for our truck or our car, but I guarantee you, you need to read the manual for your life and how God has created you to be in his image and his likeness. And so Jesus gave his life back here, and he says, I'm going to come back again for you. And you know what? He's coming back after 2,000 years. And he's coming back right at the end of that time. He's coming back. And this is very interesting for all of us, because we are right in this zone right now. And we're going to try to figure out exactly when is he coming? What does the Word of God, which is infallible, what does it say about him returning? And it says in the Word of God, and I'm going to read that from the book of Revelation. Now, this is the interesting thing about Revelation is often not taught. And you don't get a lot of pastors and teachers that are going to teach this book, but it is vitally important that you know and understand at least somewhat what's going on in the book of Revelation. And so the Lord has encouraged me to teach you and to help you understand that in chapter 20 of the book of Revelation, it says, And I saw an angel coming down out of heaven, having the key to the abyss, and holding in his hand a great chain. He seized the dragon, the ancient serpent, who is the devil or Satan. There he is at the beginning. He seizes him down here and bound him for 1,000 years. He threw him into the abyss and locked and sealed it over him to keep him from deceiving the nations anymore until the 1,000 years were ended. After that, he must be set free for a short time. Wow, he's going to be set free, but he's going to be bound. Satan has been lying and deceiving people all the way through this age. And look at that, I got the wrong pen again. That's okay. All the way through the ages, Satan has been lying and deceiving. And right up until this point, right here, the end of the age, Satan is bound. This period of time right here is the millennium. It's the 1,000-year reign. Jesus is coming back, and he's going to set up his kingdom. And I'll just write in here, Jesus' kingdom. $1,000 years. So what we have now, we've got 2,000, 4,000, 6,000, 7,000 years until the end of the 1,000-year reign of Christ. God's timeline has 7,000 years. Remember the last video that we did? A day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is like a day, is what it says in Peter. And so we have 7 days. Isn't that interesting? We've got 6 days up until the time that Jesus comes back. And you could say that that last day is a day of rest. It's the 7th day. It's a time where the whole world will just relax. It says that the lion lays down with the lamb. It says that a man who dies at the age of 100 is thought to be a child. People are going to live through this 1,000 years for a long, long time. Satan isn't there with all of his trash. He hasn't got all of his sickness and disease and stress that he puts on people. That's going to be a wonderful time in the 1,000-year reign. And then after that point, then we're going to find out what happens next. And that's going to be in our next video. I'm sure glad you joined me today. I keep this verse up here that says, all who call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. You know, we all need saving. It says that for all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. But through Christ, we can be made righteous. And so we put our faith in Jesus. And I'm going to explain to you somewhere down the road about how you're made, that you are spirit and you are soul and you are body. But right now I'm trying to give you an overview of the timeline of how things roll out and what God has in mind. So I'm going to be back, and God bless you. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.